Hey there everyone, Afrodo Reviews here, and it's a new month and a new time. Last month I did mostly LGBT related books. I feel like my voice sounds weird. Does my voice sound weird? Last month, for the month of June, I did an entire TBR of LGBT related books, and there were a lot of up and downs of that month. I don't think I liked a lot of the books as much as I hoped I would, but I hope I at least introduced some people who were looking for LGBT literature to some that were out there that they otherwise wouldn't have known about. A lot of my books were actually fairly recent that year, and apart from one of them, I didn't exactly hate any of them. I mostly just found a good portion of them as needing refinement, basically. But that was fair because I think there was a good portion of them that I read that were just debut novels. I know for a fact that Gearbreakers and Ace Wild were both debut novels from those authors. But anyways, I really don't have much to say on the June wrap up. I really hope that you guys all enjoyed them. I actually am considering doing more videos in the style of the minor TBR I've been doing lately. It is way harder, I'm not gonna lie, but I actually do enjoy the final product a lot more. So go ahead and let me know what you guys think of that. If I don't give much feedback on it, I guess I'll just try it and see how that goes over. But for the most part, I would keep TBR videos like this, or like discussion videos, or the tags more on my face rather than doing them in that style, to be fair. But I just wanted to put that out there because I've been considering that for a little bit. At the time of recording this, I haven't made a full decision, but let's move on. With that being said, we move on to the month of July. And for those of you who were here around this time last year, that sounds weird saying back to back. But anyways, for those of you who were here at July last time, for those of you who are here watching this channel this time last year, you know that July is my birth month. And because of that, I like to do something special. Something I call nostalgic reevaluation, where I give myself the birthday present of reading old childhood classics and ruining them for me by looking at them with a more adult, critical perspective. So what's on it with the menu for this year? Well, I've collected a bunch of them, and I'm going to read through them and give you my thoughts. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and start. And the first book will be Hunger Games. Now, Hunger Games came out while I was still in high school, and I was still in the target audience when I picked it up. This is one of the few books where I read the first book before the second came out. I actually was in the process of finishing it right as Catching Fire came out, and I really enjoyed this book, at least at the time that I read it. I don't have much to say about this. This was something I picked up in the high school library, unlike my experiences with a couple other dystopic novels, like with The Knife of Never Letting Go or Divergent, which I actually did read as part of a class. I'm just going to go ahead and get into this. And obviously, those of you who know Hunger Games, you know it started off the YA dystopic future novels. For those of you who don't know, here's the synopsis within the book. Would you survive on your own, in the wild, with everyone out to make sure you don't live to see the morning? In the ruins of a place once known as North America lies the nation of Panem, a shining capital surrounded by 12 outlying districts. The capital is harsh and cruel and keeps the districts in line by forcing them all to send one boy and one girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to participate in the annual Hunger Games, a fight to the death on live TV. 16-year-old Katniss Everdeen, who lives alone with her mother and younger sister, regards it as a death sentence when she steps forward to take her sister's place in the games. But Katniss has been close to dead before, and survival, for her, is second nature. Without really meaning to, she becomes a contender, but if she is to win, she will have to start making choices that weigh survival against humanity and life against love. There's really no surprise for me of what's holding in this book. I remember it pretty well, so I'll just hold off on talking too much about that. I remember liking it a lot, and I remember being rather interested. I haven't seen the adaptation in a while, so the next book that I'll be getting into is The Dangerous Days of Daniel X. Of this selection I have right here next to me, this is the one that I'm worried the most about. I really like James Patterson's writing back in the day, or his more YA works. I really liked Maximum Ride series, and I really liked The Dangerous Days of Daniel X. Now, of the two, the Daniel X one was actually the lesser of the ones I liked. And I found that like after the third book, it was trying to get overly complicated with its premise, which doesn't work because the entire story is about a kid who can basically reality warp. The reason I'm so worried about this one is because I last year, as you can see in my worst books of 2022 that I read, I tried to get into James Patterson's more adult books, the specifically Four Blind Mice and the Alex Cross series, and I was forced to realize just how bland and facile the man's writing was. It was bad. I legitimately could not figure out why this guy kept making it onto the best-selling list with that book. I'm going to try to consider that an outlier, because I also know that James Patterson doesn't write most of his books. He writes down the basic plot line and has ghostwriters do most of the work. So hopefully this one will hold up, but I'm not going to put a lot of weight on that. Without further delaying, here's the premise. Spider-Man meets Men in Black in this heart-stopping novel from James Patterson. I guess Spider-Man would be the more relevant one, and not just saying, imagine reading a book about Franklin Richards. Author of best-selling books Maximum Ride and When the Wind Blows. He was born with great power and great responsibility. The greatest superhero of all isn't meant to be part spider, part man, or to cast magic spells. The greatest power is the power to create. So like the Scarlet Witch, who casts spells. Or Doctor Strange, who casts spells. I get the feeling Patterson isn't very comic-wise. Daniel X has that power, and a deadly secret. Daniel's secret abilities, like being able to manipulate objects and animals with his mind, or to recreate himself in any shape he desires, have helped him survive. But Daniel doesn't have a normal life. He is the protector of Earth, the alien hunter, with a mission beyond anyone's imagining. Now the fate of the world rests on Daniel X. From the day his parents were brutally murdered before his very eyes, Daniel has used his unique gifts to hunt down their assassins. Finally, with the help of the list bequeathed to him in his parents' dying breath, he is closing in on the killer. Now, on his mission, he vows to carry out his father's mission and to take vengeance in the process. And that's all she wrote. I kind of said everything I needed to about the book in my preamble, but I actually don't remember too much about this book. The only thing I'm hoping is that the Anne Michael Ledwidge adds his own unique flair on this book and makes it much better than Patterson's Alex Cross writing. And yeah, that's about all I can say. So we'll move on. Now this book I remember picking up in high school and it being one of my first real zombie books. And that is Rot and Ruin. This is another one of those books that I really liked as a kid and checked out in the library and just like read through. Like, wow, I love this. I remember picking up the Dust and Decay, but I haven't actually read the final in the series, or I guess if Patient Zero is a prequel or the first book. But this is the one that I remember most of. I really enjoyed the concept of this world and the things that it tries to do. That's all I can really offer for now without just getting into the book, so let's get into this back. Benny Amura couldn't hold a job, so he took to killing. In the zombie-infested world Benny has grown up in. I read that with the wrong inflection. Teenagers must work once they turn 15, or they'll lose their food rations. Benny isn't interested in taking on the family business, but he reluctantly agrees to train as a zombie killer with his boring big brother Tom. The zombie killer and boring big brother don't go together. He expects a dull job whacking zombies for cash. What he discovers is a vocation that will teach him what it really means to be human. His worldview is challenged again and again by the lessons he learns from Tom. Benny is forced to confront another horrifying reality. Sometimes the most terrible monsters are human. And that's about it. I do know who the human antagonist actually is, but I'm not going to spoil anything for now. I just hope this holds up. I've actually been considering getting more into zombie fiction again lately. Good question. Do zombies count as fantasy or sci-fi? Probably sci-fi, huh? Because most of the time it's a disease and sickness. Like cordyceps is a more realistic one because that could actually happen, but I'm getting too caught up in the details here. But so let's move on. We move on to another book that I read a lot. Now this one I've actually read in middle school, and it kind of stuck with me. I actually gave my nephew the copy of this, but I don't think he's actually read it. If he does, I'm going to try to convince him to do this review with me. I know you're watching. Read the book. This was a favorite series of mine, and this is one of the ones that I sought out everything that came out. I got into it late, but I do believe I read up to at least book 7. From when it goes from the main character being older to suddenly going back to a prequel. It was confusing. I hate when books do that. Like, if you commit to a character being older, don't just suddenly write the next book back when he's young again. But anyways, that book is Ranger's Apprentice, Book 1, The Runes of Gorlan. I think it's pronounced Gorlan. Could be Gorlane. Nah, there's no E. But anyways, to read the back of the synopsis, since I kind of already went off on my tangent, he had always wanted to be a warrior. The Rangers, with their dark cloaks and shadowy ways, have always made him nervous. The villagers believe that the Rangers practice magic that make them invisible to ordinary people. And now, 15-year-old Will, always small for his age, has been chosen as a Ranger's apprentice. What he doesn't yet realize is that the Rangers are the protectors of the kingdom. Highly trained in the skills of battle and surveillance, they fight the battles before the battles reach the people. And as Will is about to learn, there is a large battle brewing. The exiled Morgorath, Lord of the Mountains, Rain and Night, is gathering his forces for an attack on the kingdom. This time, he will not be denied. Well, I guess I'm stuck with you now. Lucky for you, I'm almost done. So yeah, I pretty much said all I need to say about the Ranger's Apprentice before I actually read the synopsis. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. I remember the actual fight with Morgorath in later books being very disappointing, but yes, big yawn. Just don't eat my beard. Now the final one is actually one that I think is the oldest book I've read. I picked this up from the actual, city library rather than the library in my school like I got most of these other ones from. But this is a book I picked up. I remember it being a lot bigger, but that might have just been my inexperience at the time, or the fact that it was a hardcover when I picked it up, and this one is a soft cover. But that book is Gone. Now, for those of you who remember the book, I referenced it in my second ever review, Off-World by Robin Parrish, and how that book was basically a mix of Gone and The Martian. I think it might be a little unfair to say that now, but if you want to see that review, go ahead and check it out. It's really old, though, old. But that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and read the back here. In the blink of an eye, everyone disappears. Everyone except for the young, teens, middle schoolers, toddlers. But not a single adult. No teachers, no cops, no doctors, no parents. Gone, too, are the phones, the internet, and the television. There is no way to get help. Hunger threatens, bullies rule, a sinister creature lurks. Animals are mutating, and the teens themselves are changing, developing new talents, unimaginable, dangerous, deadly powers that grow stronger by the day. It's a terrifying new world. Sides are being chosen, and war is imminent. And the rest is just the thing. Although this has a nice quote there. If Stephen King had written Lord of the Flies, it might have been a little like this. No. If Stephen King wrote Lord of the Flies, it would have been a little worse. From what I remember of this book. Well, have you guys read it? There's a scene there they never adapt into movies for good reason. But yeah, I remember this book actually having a very good influence on me as a kid. Well, good, but it's a very interesting book. I remember liking it a lot, but I don't think I can point to you specific details about it without kind of stretching my memory. So I'm not going to speak too much on that. I'm mostly just going to say, hey, I'm going to read that and I'll let you know what it's like at the end. So, with that being said, that's all I got to say. I hope you guys will enjoy this coming month of TBR videos. And I hope the books hold up to a nostalgic reevaluation. That being said, just remember, with every book comes an adventure. And every adventure is worth having. Even the bad ones. See you later, everyone. Oh, yes. You're cute. You're ugly, but you're cute.